This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us Roosevelt Hoover III, our jazz artist. Hello, Roosevelt. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Very well. Okay, so Roosevelt Hoover, the first and the second, were they also artists?
Yes, actually the first and the second. First was my grandfather. He sang mostly,
Mhm.
but my father, Roosevelt Jr., was a keyboard player like myself.
Okay. And so when you were small, did you uh, see your family practicing? How were you introduced into the music? Were you asked to play, or did you really want to play?
Well, of course I wanted to play. What was happening was my dad had a band, and so Monday through Thursday they practiced in our living room.
Mm.
So from an early age, I was indoctrinated, I guess, to music. And by the time I was five, I asked him to teach me how to play it. Instead of him teaching me, he said, "Well, if you can whistle it, you can play it."
Mm.
And so I believed him. And of course, I went to the piano and Mary Had a Little Lamb. So I
Uh-huh.
figured it out, and that was the start.
Mhm. So what were the first songs that you learned? Was it like these childhood songs like Mary Had a Little Lamb?
Oh yeah, it started off with childhood songs, but I think within the year, as I was turning six, I wanted to start playing what I was hearing in my living room,
Mhm.
with his band. So I actually started learning back at the Chicken Shack, the first song on the CD.
Mhm.
And I had, I didn't know it, but one of my aunts was in the house. And all of a sudden she popped her head around the corner. She goes, "I thought that was your dad."
Oh.
And that kind of gave me, the inspiration to keep going.
Mhm. Wow.
And then it was later on where he actually taught me songs.
Mm. So when they said that if your dad said if you could whistle it, you could play it. So as such a young kid, were you also whistling too?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. In fact, I whistled so much, I was asked to stop whistling
Oh.
on occasion. Yeah.
Was it hard for you to learn how to whistle?
No, no. I think it came quite easy.
And what about the other musicians when you talk with them? Did they ever talk about whistling?
No,
Okay,
no.
only
Um,
your dad.
only just playing.
Wow. And what about Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Did you play that one?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was five when I banged it out.
Uh,
Um, Interesting enough, when my kids started school, I became a music mentor at their school.
mm,
And so I would play all those nursery rhymes, but, to a drum beat. So I would kind of jazz it up and then have them dance to it as well.
oh.
So, you know, the, Mary Had a Little Lamb, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on a Little Teapot. Those all became regular songs for my kids to hear in their classrooms.
A lot of times, these childhood songs and rhymes, they're deep, kind
Yeah,
of deep. Did
yeah.
you did you notice that when you were young?
Did I do what? I'm sorry.
Did you notice that they were deep? Did you like just listen to them for the melody, or did you ever think about the actual story of the song?
Well, not really. As a kid, you just sang the songs and
Mm,
tried to learn them correctly
mhm,
and sang on pitch.
mhm. Was it hard to learn perfect pitch?
I think it just comes, especially if you're learning how to play by ear, which I did. I didn't really take piano lessons until after I got out of the military.
Oh.
And then because I've always played by ear. My dad played by ear. He wasn't very much of a reader,
Oh.
um, but I played trumpet all through school, so I knew how to read music. Of course, piano music is a lot more involved, um, but I was able to learn quickly because mainly because of my ear training. I think I was able to hear a piano lesson. I was able to hear it, and once I've heard it, then it was easy to pick it out. And at first it did kind of hold me back, but then it also taught me I have to read. I have to actually read the notes. As the music started getting more complicated, it became harder to hear it the first time and be able to bang it out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you find that after you were able to read music, how long did it take you to learn how to read music? Because it gets pretty complicated if you want to learn the more complicated.
Well, that's true. But, the head start for me was playing trumpet,
Mhm,
elementary school, junior high, and high school. Uh, my son did the same thing. He played trumpet. Of course, he became a guitar player.
mhm,
But yeah, with ear training, it just makes it easier.
mhm. If and also you compose as well, right?
Yes, yeah, I do have some originals. This particular CD was, it was an homage to my father,
Mhm,
right? Now, these songs on the CD are family played. I'm in a family of musicians. My uncle played bass. Um, we had close friends playing guitar. My brother played drums. So it was these tunes were tunes that we played in the family quite often.
mhm,
At get-togethers, or backyard jams.
mhm.
Hence the name of the album, Backyard Blues.
Right. So did the family ever actually everybody had like different instruments that they could play? How often was it that the family played together as a unit, as a band?
Right. Well, I think forever.
Mm,
As my kids started getting older, I have a daughter who sings. Um, we would just incorporate them into our practices, our jams, kind of thing. And of course, if we were playing to a backyard party, then we would encourage them to come up and play their instrument or sing. Yeah.
mm. So is there also a Roosevelt Hoover the fourth?
Well, yes, that's my son.
Oh,
Unfortunately, was a guitar player and a bass player. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2023.
oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
yeah, he was quite proficient.
When you were in the backyard, uh, what state were you in when you were playing those backyard blues with your
Yeah,
dad?
right, California. So I grew up in Santa Barbara, but after my military stint, I moved to San Jose, and my dad was already here. My uncle was here, so it was easy to um, hang out at their practices, and at their gigs. Um, and of course, they included me in all the jam sessions that we had.
And when you grew up also in San Jose,
I grew up in Santa Barbara, but
Santa
my,
Barbara.
yeah, my adult life
Oh,
was in San Jose. Mhm.
I see. Um, I wonder, when you played the backyard blues, was that like during the day or during the night with the family?
Oh, with the family. Well, it was both day and night. For example, Thanksgiving was a big family get together, and it was a tradition that after dinner, then we go out to the garage, which I turned into a studio, and we would play music, for a few hours.
Mhm. That was almost always part of the family program, right?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
So there's a lot of outdoors in there. I wonder, did you ever notice animals drop by, like birds or maybe squirrels, while the family was playing. Did you ever notice that the nature arrived to listen as well?
I don't remember. I don't, I probably didn't take notice. I
Okay.
was just concentrating on what was going on and with the music. Um, Improvisation was a big part of what we do,
Mhm.
what we did, still do. And so it was, simply that listening, you know, catching the groove, and then coming up with something that hopefully people, they liked, whether they were listening or playing.
Mhm.
Um, it was hopefully, trying to add to the music, basically.
In your inspirations, when you write music or improvise, uh, does does nature ever have a part in it? Because you're in the outdoors so often. Because sometimes hear a lot of different birds singing, and they're very melodic. I
Yeah.
wonder if anything in nature actually inspires you. Does it play any part in your compositions?
Um, it probably does, but it's not something that's like the forefront of my brain.
Mhm.
It was always this listening and what can be done to improve the sound.
Okay. This might be a weird question, but I've been hearing a lot of videos about the mosquitoes because it's mosquito season. I wonder when the family is playing outside in the backyard and it's warm enough for mosquitoes. Did you have to have like a mosquito repellent, or when you played, did that affect the insects at all? Did they maybe go away, or maybe there were more, or anything that the music changed in nature when you're playing out there?
Well, if anything, less mosquitoes because
Okay.
I never seem to get bothered by anything like that.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, in California, the weather's good. We don't have a lot of mosquitoes
Oh.
unless there's, standing water or something like
Mhm.
that. But no, mosquitoes didn't bother. No.
Wonderful. Okay, and so in these backyard blues sessions, did any other artists, like non-family visitors, join in? Did they ever become maybe a part of get-togethers, part of parties?
Right. Well, um, so when we did this album, I didn't use my family members. Unfortunately, like I said, my son passed away. We were supposed to play these songs together, um, and unfortunately, he passed away first. And then within a year, my dad passed away.
Oh,
So my son and I, we took music classes together at the local college, Mission
oh.
College,
Mhm.
and our music professor, he was a drummer, and he also had his own studio, and he encouraged me to put out something because I hadn't done it yet. I have originals, but they're not quite ready, and he said, "Well, let's just catalog, stuff that you've done with your family." And so we hired some, he's a drummer, he played on it. And then we hired a bass player, Dan Robbins, and a guitar, Johnny Vega. And then on trumpet it was Joel Berman. He also played trombone. And then Phil's wife did some background vocals on one of the songs. My daughter actually sang
Mhm.
Stormy Monday. And then a family close friend sang If You Want Me to Stay. Um, so it was a combination of professional musicians and my family, my daughter anyway, and myself.
Were there a lot of musicians around at that time on the jazz scene that played like your family did in the backyard?
That's right. Yeah.
Were there other musicians too that did the same thing? Was it a tradition in the Santa Barbara area of families playing outside, or was it more unique to your family?
Well, no, I think there. I'm sure there were other families. I mean, I knew other musicians that had families. I know that they played music together too. So yeah, I don't think it was unique to my family. I think a lot of families were doing it. Yeah, and are still doing it.
Mhm. Because when we listen to your album, it seems a little different from studio albums. Is maybe that was it. Maybe it's on account of you being outdoors playing so often. How often did you play outdoors? I know when you're with the family, yes, but let's say throughout the year, how much was outdoors and how much was indoors at the
Yeah.
venues?
Okay. So yeah, indoors, that tends to be like night events.
Okay.
Um, for instance, I'm in a band now, and we'll play evenings in clubs, but we also play like twice a month on Saturdays at the local flea market. So
Okay.
that's outside. It's from 12 to 4:30. So yeah, you know, both indoors and outdoors. It wasn't just simply outdoors
Mhm.
or simply indoors. It's a combination of both.
Does it, do you have any preference? I know that you would do a good job no matter where, but where is it more comfortable? Where do you feel more in tune with your music, indoors or outdoors?
Well, it's about the same. I mean, I'm playing a lot outdoors right now. So and it's summer, so the weather's good.
Mhm.
In December, January, the weather's colder. It's not as quite as cold as the Midwest or
No.
in Chicago, but yeah, I like them both. I like them. They both have their ups and downs, but I like them both. I just like playing.
What about by the light of the silvery moon? When you're outside and the moon in the moonlight and playing, is there any different feeling to that? Does that help? How does that affect you?
Well, it does seem like more of a party atmosphere, you know. So you just kind of get into it more, maybe. Um, I mean, I always try to do my best, no matter what. I'm always trying to play the best that I possibly can, and so it doesn't really matter if it's indoors or outdoors. But yeah, um, early evening or evening into the night, if it's outside on a warm night, that's great.
When you choose your music and when you enjoy, I know you try to do a good job for no matter what, but uh, uh, for a composition, for something that you play, do you pay more attention to the music, the rhythm, or does the story move you the most? The story of the song.
Right. Well, I I guess I prefer instrumental.
Mhm,
Especially when I was younger, I shied away from listening to singing groups.
mhm.
I didn't, and I still don't consider myself a singer. So I gravitated towards what I did, and I did a lot of music and instrumentals kind of things. I still do, but I have a daughter who sings. So, we learn songs for her too.
Were you surprised from a family that plays instruments? Your daughter wanted to sing.
No, I wasn't surprised. I remember because she sang a lot when she was a kid. I mean, I had a studio, a personal studio in this room actually, when they were very, very young.
Mhm.
So they'd always try to come in and reach up and touch the keyboards, and of course I had microphones. They'd want to grab a mic and start singing. So I would play something that they could sing, usually like a nursery rhyme. But
Uh,
every once in a while, they would try to sing to what I was playing to,
mm,
and I would encourage it.
mm. But then your daughter became the singer. She had the voice.
Yes, she had the voice when she was a little kid,
Mhm,
but it just kept getting better and better. And of course, she started playing guitar as well.
mhm.
And she's married now, but and her husband plays guitar, so she plays bass. And they had a little band
Oh,
uh, called Cherry Stone, and it's an alternative rock band.
oh,
But they're pretty busy. They actually they just had a baby, so it's kind of slowed down
mhm.
recently. But I'm sure within a year they'll be striking up the band again.
Did you compose anything? Because your grandchild inspired you?
um, well, no, I haven't really composed it yet. I actually have three grandkids.
Okay.
The singer, my daughter Rosalind, who sings,
Mhm,
her child is the youngest one. I have another daughter, Leanna, and she has two grandkids, a boy and a girl.
mhm. So your grandkids never inspired you to write a song? Like,
No, but they want to play. I mean, I babysit them in the morning, and
oh,
so when I bring them here, one of the first things they ask for is, "Can we go practice in the studio?"
oh,
So we go out there, and right now it's just a lot of banging and kind of just clanking on the piano. I have a full studio.
mhm.
Bass guitar, pianos, more than a few pianos, and they try to sing. Like I said, they try to sing. They try to play. They're not quite there yet, but the boy, he's 6 now, and he's just about ready to start lessons. So we started him on the piano, but he gravitates toward the drums. His sister gravitates towards the drums and guitar, and Rosalind, her daughter, she's only 8 months, so
Oh.
she's very loud. So it seems to me that she probably, most likely, will be a singer.
Oh, she's already projecting, and she's
She's
not crying.
right.
She's just loud.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe she's learning from her mother instinctively.
Yeah. Well, her mother does sing to her all the time.
Mhm. Oh,
So
wonderful.
yeah, she's probably picking it up.
Do any of your grandkids know how to whistle? Did you ever teach them to whistle?
Not yet. Not
Mm.
yet.
Do they know how to read music yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
That will start very shortly. They're at that age now, so where you can start teaching them.
And how old were you when you learned how to read music?
Well, let's see. I was in third grade, third or fourth grade. But I took trumpet in school, so you learn how to read. At
Mm.
least treble clef.
So first you learn how to read music, and then you learn the music theory and the chords.
Yes.
Were you able to learn that in grammar school?
No. I was playing keyboards by ear. My dad didn't read, so
Mhm.
um, it was just strictly ear training. And then at the same time, I was, elementary school. I'd started playing trumpet. So in terms of reading music, it did start to overlap a little bit, but I could only read like treble clef melody lines, and of course, my dad, he played organ, so he had some sheet music, but it was organ sheet music, so it would have the chords, but not in notation, just the chord like CM for C minor or CMAG for C major, and then of course the melody line.
Mhm.
By the time I was in fifth grade, sixth grade, I could read the melody line in piano too, but I didn't know left hand. I could only play that by ear.
Mm. Okay. So your dad was able to read the chords, but did you say that he did not really understand the melody line, but he played it by ear?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, when you actually learn how to read music, did you find that of course you could do a lot with what you know, but what about the skill wise and professionally wise, sound wise? How did that compare with your dad? It seemed as if your dad was able to progress very far without actually learning how to read.
Yes, he was gifted that way,
Mhm.
and hopefully that rubbed off. But yeah, learning how to play piano was a bit challenging at first. There was a lot of, like I said, oh, okay, I heard it. I know what to do now.
Mhm.
Then I had a good piano teacher, and she would say, okay, but your fingering is completely wrong. So that was the start of learning how to play correctly, learning correct hand positions. Um, I still take piano lessons, in fact, from a jazz pianist. Um,
How often a week? When once a week or how often?
yeah, once a week,
Oh.
yeah, for an hour.
Wow. Okay. And uh, I think you just take a lot away from it now, more so than if you had taken it during when you were younger, right?
Oh
You,
yeah, I mean, I'm more settled, right? I mean, I've got grandkids, so I have a lot more patience. I'm retired, so I have more time to focus. Um, so yeah, it's definitely adding to what I already know and what I'm able to do. I'm actually in a Latin band, which is something far away from this,
uh,
but it actually helps. It just kind of gives me some fresh ideas to bring to the blues and jazz music. So yeah, it's a good thing.
how were you inspired to start the Latin band? And what was the first song that you heard in Latin that inspired you to uh, go down that road?
Right. So well, it kind of started in my teenage years, listening to Santana,
Mhm.
which was like the introduction to Latin music.
Oh,
Then as an adult living up here in San Jose, I was introduced to a lot of different bands,
mhm.
and I was able to join different bands, and eventually I got around to joining a Latin band.
Oh.
So that was, my first introduction. Um, it was a lot of learning how to play differently.
Mhm.
Latin music, you have these things called montunos, which is a rhythmic way of playing. Um, they treat the piano as truly a percussive instrument.
Mm.
So it was different. It still is different. Um, but I've been doing it for a couple of years now, so it's a lot easier, but it is more intricate.
Okay, so if the piano is the percussive instrument, then which one is the melodic instrument in the band?
Well, it depends on the type of music. Um, Jazz and blues, the piano, the organ, they're playing more melodic kind of thing. Um, but in the Latin world,
Yes.
that it's mainly piano,
Mhm.
and it's very rhythmic. Sometimes it's the same rhythm over and over and over, like in a reggae band.
Mhm.
I've also done. Um, but it just requires more focus, at least for me. It requires more focus, but it is something I enjoy. My my background is my father was African American, my mother was Mexican American.
Oh,
So I've always had an ear for Latin music.
yes.
It was years later that I was introduced to it, and I'm playing like I said, I'm playing a Latin band now. So for me, it's part of my heritage. So I want to do well at it.
So in your album Backyard Blues, you have all this heritage and background and different genres that you've become familiar with and you've used all the time. Which in those tracks, which ones are like more Latin? Which tracks are more maybe folk? Did you also have folk elements in your music? Because I think that like Mexican music sh- must have a lot of folk elements to it.
Well, the traditional Mexican tunes definitely sound, they have their own folk kind of songs.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, the backyard blues wasn't so much that. It was just kind of like memory songs. I mean, it was songs my family, they were on the list. Those
Mhm.
the 8 songs that were on the CD.
Yes. So it was basically mostly on the songs that the of the family.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely that. It was a homage to my dad and what our family used to do.
Mhm. And when you play at gigs, is that what the audience likes to hear too from your band, from you?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, it's feel good music. So um, whenever we played it, we did get warm receptions. Yes.
Which song on the album did you have to spend the most time with to hash it out? And yeah, let's start with that.
Right. Okay. So there wasn't so much of that. Actually, I think that why the album sounds the way it does is because we treated it as a performance. We didn't lay like the drum track first, the bass track second, the guitar track third, the keyboard track fourth. We didn't do that. Instead, we just played and recorded it as a live performance.
Mhm.
So, and we were able to do it in 6 hours.
The whole album in 6 hours?
Yeah, 6 hours, 8 tunes. Yeah.
Wow. But you've been playing all those songs for how long now?
For quite a while, for quite some time. I'd say over 10 years.
Mhm.
But uh, I was the only one that played those. The other musicians, um, I gave them the tracks, they learned them, and then we got in the studio and just knocked them out.
Mhm. But I guess the those tracks were more personal to you because they're like part of your family.
Right, right, right. I mean, they were very good musicians.
Mhm.
They're working professionals here in San Jose. So I felt at home going through the songs. It wasn't. There were some slight adjustments, but they weren't so severe that it didn't bother the group. Everybody caught the groove, and we were just able to play as if we had been a band for a long time.
So of those 8 songs, could you like maybe point out like which song is like most reminiscent of your dad? Which one most reminiscent of your grandfather? Which one
Yeah,
most
yeah,
reminiscent of your son? Could
right.
uh,
Well, my son's all of them.
oh,
We played quite a bit together. For my father, it would be the first track, Back at the Chicken Shack, because that's the first song he taught me. That's the first song I taught my son. Um, so it's probably that one. But like I said, the others we did play on the regular. My son, we played them all the time. um, yeah. So yeah, the entire album reminds me of family.
mhm. Was it more like a farm uh element in those when like Chicken Shack is are they talking about like a chicken restaurant or chicken hut where the hens and the rooster live?
Yeah, I think more like a chicken coop. At least
Oh,
that's how
okay.
I kind of took it. Yeah.
Uh, so did you ever play in a around a chicken coop?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah.
But
Well,
my grandparents grew up on a farm.
that was it. Mm.
And Jimmy Smith wrote that song, so maybe that was part of his background too.
Mhm.
You know.
Okay. Because the reason I ask is that I've noticed that nature is often very melodic, and then I think that if you were to be playing there, that would probably inspire some of the roosters to start crowing as well.
Yeah, maybe so.
So of all the songs, which ones would you oh, you play all of them at the venues? There's not like a some that you play more at your gigs?
Well, um, yeah, probably Cold Duck Time because I learned the version by Lee Ritenour,
Mhm.
but this Latin band they played that song too, but we do it by Pancho Sanchez version, so it's more Latin-y. Although on the album it does have a Latin twist to it,
Mhm.
but it's even more so in the Latin band that I play with right
So you play Cold Duck Time in the Latin band as well. What does Cold Duck Time mean anyway?
now. And Cold Duck. Well, and Cold Duck is a drink.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's time to drink some cold duck.
Oh, what is it made of?
I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know. I mean, I'm not much of a drinker,
uh,
so I really don't know.
and you're much more of a musician than a bartender.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, wow. I learned something today. I've always wondered what Cold Duck Time means.
Yeah, time
Okay,
for some cold duck.
awesome. So are you how many albums have you come up with so far? This is your number what?
This is the
Backyard
first.
Blues.
This is the first one, and
First
we're
one.
already talking about the second one. So I'm
Oh.
hoping
Mhm.
within the next year I'll be releasing another album.
And have you been part of other bands that have published like a CD or an album?
I think, yeah, back when I was in Santa Barbara, the last band I was in was called Shades of Soul,
Oh.
and I believe there's an album out. Um, it's not lost touch, but I'm just not as in touch anymore
Mm.
because
Mhm.
it's been a number of years. But I think back as kids, we did release something. I don't know how well it did. It was released locally, so I'm not sure how much it's heard. In fact, I don't even have a copy of it. And you just reminded me I need to go out and get a copy.
Yeah, get a what now? Like you have to.
A copy of the album
Oh,
that.
copy. Oh, yes, yes. I wonder if that's hard to do. How long has it been?
Oh, it's been over 15 years now.
Oh, yeah. But anybody it has to be those old bandmates, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so how has your music changed over the years? You keep on learning and enjoying the music, but stepping back from it. At what points did your music change?
Well, um, I started out in an R&B band when I was young, teenager. I did the military thing. I came and lived up here, and I played in R&B bands, played in reggae bands,
Mm.
I played in Latin bands, and I played in blues bands. I haven't played in too many jazz bands because I wasn't very versed on it. But when my son was in high school, he was in a jazz band. In fact, he was in a jazz band up here called Deja Vu,
Oh,
and they went on tour. In fact, they played at the Montreal Jazz Festival. And what was neat about that is, they ended up in Geneva, Switzerland.
mm.
But when I was in high school, I was in a high school band, and we went on tour, and we were in Geneva. So
Oh,
we were in Geneva 35 years apart,
wow.
which was kind of neat. I went to Geneva to play music, and then 35 years later, he goes to Geneva to play music.
So the Swiss they're into blues and into jazz.
Yeah, a lot of jazz. Yeah,
Wow. Oh.
yeah. And my son was a jazz player too.
Mhm.
And then he also then he got me to play jazz.
Which war were you in the military, if you don't mind saying?
Service I was in the Air Force.
Oh, but so it wasn't during some war. It was just military.
It was just military during peacetime. Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome. And how did that affect your music? Being disciplined and because there is a certain discipline in music, and then
Well,
when you have the service discipline too, the both disciplines melded somehow.
well, funny enough, it did right off the bat. So I was in basic training, and I had signed up to be a jet engine mechanic,
Oh,
and I um, I had an option to go to a language school, and so I thought, well, language is made up of tones, and I'm a musician, and I chose not to do the Air Force band, which I regret.
mhm.
So I went into the language program, and I successfully completed that, and I was in Korean language,
Oh,
and they sent me to Korea to do the job, and yeah, it I think that's what got me through my ability to hear tones. For some reason, I was able to translate that to language.
so how many different languages did you learn in language school? Korean, yes. Any other languages?
Oh no, just Korean.
Okay, well, it's hard to learn a language. And how many years was that learning it?
Well, the school was for 52 weeks, so
Oh,
and then we had to go to Texas for I think 5 months for equipment training, and then we got shipped out to Korea,
oh.
and it was a year tour, but I stayed for a year and a half.
Uh, in other words, you stayed an extra 6 months as part of the military.
Yes,
Did you listen to K-pop?
that wasn't a thing yet.
Oh,
I
well,
didn't have.
what was popular at in Korea? Did you listen to any of the Korean music?
Well, I was a young man then, and on bass we had the Korean bands come up. And what
Really?
I noticed was they could play American songs pretty good. I
Oh,
was impressed, and of course they would sing the songs, but you could tell they were singing phonetically,
mhm.
not necessarily understanding the words that they
Got
were
it.
singing.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I tended to listen to that. I did listen to Korean folk music too, but
Mhm.
not as often as the bands playing American music.
Uh, well, did you like it? What did you think about the Korean folk music?
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was just you know I just didn't spend much time. Although I did have a friend who played guitar, and he learned like I don't know how many Korean folk songs, but he would sing them and play them, in our barracks and stuff.
Wow. I wonder if he was singing phonetically or if he understood what he was saying.
Well, we were all taking Korean. We were Korean translators, so he
Oh,
knew he knew what he was saying.
oh,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. What is it like Korean storylines in their songs versus American songs?
You know, I couldn't tell you. I didn't learn the songs myself. I would just listen to him.
Oh,
And we were taught military speak in terms of translating, right? So it wasn't so much conversational. I did to take two speaking courses while I was there,
mhm.
and but it was different than what we were translating for the military.
Oh, okay. Wow. And why jet engine nearing jet was it did you say jet maintenance? What about what were you doing again?
Well, I had signed up for a jet engine mechanic,
Mechanic, yes.
but then I was given the option to go to language school after passing the test. You have to take
The
the test.
language school test.
Yes,
Oh,
and it
okay.
wasn't a language that they tested us on. They made something up, and then they gave us the grammatical rules. And they said, "Okay, here's the thing, translate it to English."
Oh.
Yeah, and so you know, it wasn't perfect, but you had to get a certain score, and I got that score. So then to me, language training was much better than working on a jet engine.
Mhm. Did you actually seek out to be a jet engine maintenance, or did you were you kind of assigned this is available, do you want it or not in the beginning?
Well, yeah, in the beginning, based on your test scores, they tell you what options you have. And
Oh.
one of them was jet engine mechanic for me.
Mhm.
So I went there. I went with it. I knew I wouldn't like it, but I knew it was only 4 years, and it might be something that I could do after the service. Um, Unlike uh, what I chose. I mean, there are not many companies that will hire you just because you know Korean.
Well, there might be companies that do business in Korea, and then
Yeah,
they could need someone use someone who knows the language and probably uh, understand the business as well.
that's right. Yeah.
But you weren't into that. You were just more into the military side of the language, you said, right?
Yes, the military side of language. Yeah.
And what about that? Was that enough to affect your music? Understanding that little bit of Korean culture, how did that affect your music, if at all?
Well, I don't think it did. It was it was just a matter of circumstances that led me to the Air Force.
Mhm.
Um, but it definitely was. I want to do my time. I want to do the best I can while I'm in, but I want to do my time and get out and start my real life.
Mhm. But now you're a veteran and you have all these veteran benefits, right? Because of those 4 years.
Yes.
That's good. That's very good. Okay, well, since you know Korean, at least some Korean, did you listen to K-pop afterwards when it came out?
Well, no,
No. Okay.
no. I mean, it goes back to what I like personally, right?
Mhm.
So I grew up not really liking singing groups. I was more into
Oh,
the
right.
instrumentalist, hence back at the chicken shack. It's all music. It's not words. There's no words
Mhm,
to it.
mhm,
Um, uh, yeah. So yeah, K-pop, I didn't listen to
mhm,
it. I know it's very popular.
mhm,
But that's a younger generation.
mhm.
I mean, I'm 70 years old. So yeah, I'm probably not going to listen to that.
Mhm. Okay, so what do you have a next project? Are you bringing together some songs for a next project?
Yes, I actually am. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, and hopefully, like I said, within the next 12 months, I'll be releasing another album.
If our listeners want to learn more about you, Roosevelt Hoover III, and your album Backyard Blues, where should they go?
Well, or you can listen to Backyard Blues on YouTube. Just
Okay,
put in Rosewater Hood the Third, Backyard Blues. It'll pop up.
okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Roosevelt Hoover III, and much luck to you.
Okay, thank you so much for the interview, WZRD.
Thank you.